Chapter 7. Dink, Josh, Rufus, and the teacher walked back into the classroom. Now we have another mystery to solve, Mr. Eagle told the class. Josh, why don't you and Dink and Rufus tell the class what you've been up to? The three kids told their classmates. The first footprint showed them Josh's drawing. Then they explained how much they traced their measure each teacher's shoe to try. And they find one who had left in the footprint. Josh's draw Rufus's list, and the 8 shoe outlines were on Mr. Eagle's desk. Also on the desk were the drawing of the skeleton and the key that Josh had found in his locker. One more thing, Mr. Eagle said. Someone sprinkled powder on the floor near Josh's locker. Then they made another footprint. She awoke the class. Any ideas? Bobby raised his hand. I think the same person who took the skeleton put the key in Josh's locker, he said. But why? Asked Rufus. We don't know what the key goes to. Mr. Eagle took the key and walked over to the classroom door. She swept the key into the keyhole and tried to lock the door. It doesn't work in this one, she said. Then she tried to the key in the desk lock. Nor this one. We could try all the locks in the school, Frankie suggested. Mr. Eagle nodded. Good idea, Frankie. But there are dozens of doors and desks. Did the key go to a suitcase or a safety deposit box? And Cass. Mr. Eagle smiled at them. Good thinking. Maybe it's the key to someone. These are all good ideas, Mr. Eagle said. But it's not practical to go around the green wall trying the key in every keyhole. What I can't figure out is why he's doing this, he said. Why leave footprints and the key that he knew we'd find? Josh raised his hand. And why did the guy pick up my walker to weave in it? Yes. Maybe he didn't, Rufus said. The walkers don't have our names on them. The guy might have just picked any third-grade walk. You're right, Mr. Eagle. So maybe the key wasn't meant to be found by anyone in the room. Everyone looked at each other as they whispered. Maybe Mr. Eagle made a pile of evidence on her desk and handed it to Josh along with the key. But now she have to get back to work, she said. It was winter and colder as Dink, Josh, and Rufus walked home after school. Let's go to my house, Rufus said. I'll make a hot chocolate with a whipped cream, Josh said. Marshmallows, Rufus said. The big fat ones? No, Josh. The little bitty ones, Rufus answered. I like the big ones, Josh mumbled. A few minutes later, Rufus let them in with the key. She found a note from her mom. saying she'd taken the Rufus' little brother Nate to the dentist. In the kitchen, Rufus' cat, Tiger, was lying on the table in a patch of sand. Rufus shooed Tiger away, then made hot chocolate in the microwave. Nick and Josh sat at the table. Josh weighed the key and the drawing of the skeleton. And the sunny spot vacated by the tiger. I think we're missing something, Nick said, looking down at the key and the drawing. The guy steals a skeleton and leaves a footprint. Then he plants a key in a walker and leaves another shoe print in the powder that he sprinkles on the floor. He's trying to tell us something, but what? Rufus brought 3 mugs and a bag of marshmallow on the table. They all folded marshmallows on their hot chocolate. I just remembered something, she said. Didn't Miss Waters tell us she was missing her powder? But she didn't make the footprint outside my walker, Josh said. I know, Rufus said. But someone could have stolen her powder to make the footprint. Maybe the thief wants everyone to suspect Mr. Waters taking the skeleton. The kids slipped their hot chocolate and they thought about that. It would have to be someone who can get into her desk and get the powder, they said finally. Why, Mr. Dillon, Rufus said. Yeah, but his footprints aren't his either, Josh said. Remember he was wearing those loafers with no tread on the bottom? And why would Mr. Dillon steal something and blame it on the secretary? Dink asked. It doesn't make sense. I wonder if anything else has been stolen from the school that we don't know about, Rufus said. Well, if anyone will know it, it's Miss Waters, Dink said. We could talk to her again tomorrow. Josh picked up the skeleton picture that had been wrapped around the key. What do you guys think of this 2 on the skull means? He asked. The school doesn't have 2 skeletons, does it? The high school and the middle school might have their own, Rufus said. Did anyone steal the skeleton? I doubt it. Or we'd have heard something, Dink said. I don't want to live in a town where some zombie goes around stealing skeletons, Josh grumbled. Anyway, this key must mean something, Dink said. He placed the key next to Skull's mouth. Talk to us, Mr. Bones. Wait a minute, Rufus cried. She moved the key up a few inches next to the big 2. What does that say? Just stuck the marshmallow into his mouth. It says, key head, he said. Key face? Key bones? Rufus shook her head. Then pointed out the key. Key, she said. Then she pointed to the number of the skull. 2, she continued. Then she put the skeleton's body. Skeleton, she said. I think it say key to the skeleton. Chapter 8. I think she's trying to tell us that key walks wherever Mr. Bone is. Hey there, Rufus continued. But where? Josh asked. The key could go to a walk in California. The skeleton is probably still in the school. And he said, how could anyone carry it out of the building in broader than daylight? But how could anyone hide it inside the school at the broad daylight either? Rufus asked. Somebody would have been bound to notice. Unless Mrs. Shelsky did it, Josh says. She carries Mr. Bones to the classes all the time. Dink shook his head. Just me. She was surprised when she saw the skeleton was missing. And that wasn't a footprint, Rufus said. The kids started drawing in the key. What gave us the key? Asked Josh. He had a chocolate mustache. Does this guy want to get caught? It looks most like he wants to find Mr. Bones, Rufus said. Well, at least no other kid has found the skeleton yet, Dink said. We can still win a corner tickets for our class. Rufus picked up the key and held it close to her eyes. That's strange. This key looks brand new, she said. How can you tell? Dink said. There are no scratches on it, Rufus said. It's very shiny. She dug her house key out of her pocket. See, my key has a lot of tiny marks from where it rubs against the inside of the door lock. But Josh's keys look like it was just made. So how do we find out what it opens? Josh said. Slurping was his hot chocolate. We could ask Mr. Neater, Dink suggested. He has the keys to everything in the building. Wait, could I have put the key in Josh's locker? Rufus asked. That would mean he took the skeleton, they said. But his shoes are way too big, remember? Unless you faked footprints, Josh asked. Like those kids who made the bear tracks. Dink wrapped the key into skeleton drawing and handed it to Josh. Let's show him this tomorrow, he said. And don't lose it. The key is our best clue. A few snowflakes fell at Dink. Josh and Rufus hurried into the school building the next morning. Whoever heard of the snow on the 1st of April, Josh remembered. He was wearing a green hat pulled down over his ears. Mr. Neater had a small office in the school basement. The kids found him there, sitting on the stool in front of a workbench. He was trying to enjam a stapler. Good morning, Mr. Neater, Dink said. The white-haired man turned and smiled. Hey, kids, what brings you down here? Playing hooky? Josh pulled the wrapped key from his pocket. He removed the drawing and showed the key to Mr. Neater. Have you ever seen a key like this? Yes. Mr. Neater held the key under both sides before. He shook his head. Nope, don't think so. But I can tell you it's a copy. This key was made from another. Probably in some hardware store. You were right, Josh marveled. How come you're so smart, Rufus? Rufus just smiled. Mr. Neener unclipped the key ring from his belt and put it down on the workbench. He found the keys and compared a few with the one Josh had given him. See, the original key that has the name of the company that makes it. Like this one is a yellow key. He tapped Josh's key, but yours has no name. It was copied from another key. Where'd you get it? He asked, handing the key back to Josh. It was in my walker-wood. Just then, a 5th grader came clomping down the basement stairs. His Howard and Lincoln hard, dark brown hair and dark mischievous eyes. What's up? I found this in my walker and I wondered if you could tell me what I goes to, Corey said. He handed Mr. Neener a shiny key. Ever stared at Corey's key. Did you find the drawing of a skeleton in the key? Rufus asked. Corey nodded. Yep. All twisted around the key. And there was a dead footprint outside your walker, think as in powder? Corey looked suspicious weird thing. Yeah. How would you know? Because there was one near my walker too, Josh said. Now I found the key in my walker with this wrapped around it. He showed Corey his picture. Corey dug it into his pocket and drew out a twisted paper. Both boys laid the drawings flat on Mr. Neener's bench. The pictures, like the keys, were identical. Say, do you suppose this has anything to do with Mr. Shosky's skeleton disappearing? Mr. Neener asked. Sure it does, Corey said. He pointed to number 2. The kids in my class figured it out easy. The key and the picture mean the key to the skeleton. We're gonna find the skeleton and get the free tickets to the new aquarium. More steps climbed down into the basement stairs. This time it was 2 second-grade girls. They were holding hands and walking embarrassed to see 4 older kids there. Susan and Jane, right? Mr. Neener said, smiling at the 2 little kids. The girls nodded. Susan nudged. Jane won't open their hands. Mr. Crumpet wanted to know if what this key fits, she said shyly. The key was the same as 2 that Corey and Josh showed. Bet you find this key in your walker, right? Mr. Neener said. Jane nodded, and I saw a picture of a skeleton too on his head. Chapter 9. Green Lawn Elementary didn't have a cafeteria. All the kids brought their lunches from home. Then Josh and Rufus took their bags outside and sat on the swings in the sun. A lot of other kids came out to eat too. Tuna fish, Josh said, smelling his sandwich. What you guys got? Rufus peeked inside. Bologna and cheese, she said. Thinks the sandwich turned out to be an egg salad. Wants to trade? He asked. I'll eat the egg, Rufus said. I want the bologna and cheese. Josh said. Good, he said. I wanted the tuna. The kids swapped the sandwiches and began eating. A kid from each class in the school found a key and a jar ring. They said, after he swallowed his first bite, so there are 6 keys and 6 jar rings and 6 footprints. Josh said, around a mouthful of sandwich. Ruth Rose shook her head. Now every class is trying to find Mrs. Shosky's skeleton before anyone else does, she said. That's about 100 kids. 2 small boys walked past, looking for a place to eat their lunches. One of the boys carried a drawing of a skeleton. Even the little kindergartners, Josh wailed, kicking some sand. It's not fair. I just thought of something, Rufus said. There's a door that connects Mr. Dillon's office to the nurse's office. He could have snuck it when Mrs. Shosky wasn't there and taken the skeleton. It would take him only a couple of minutes, Josh said. Guys, I thought we were already decided to Snatcher couldn't be Mr. Dillon, Nate said. He wasn't wearing sneakers, but he could easily have taken Mr. Waters' powder, Rufus reminded him. The powder at the door to the nurse's office. Everything else pointed to Mr. Dillon. But why would the school principal steal the skull skeleton? Hank asked. He's the one offering the reward for finding Mr. Bones. Josh bowed up his lunch bag. Let's go to see Mr. Waters again. Maybe she's remembered the way she saw Zigzag sneakers sold. The kids hurried into the school and headed for the principal's office. Let's leave our lunch stuff, they said, stopping at the locker. They opened their locker doors and put their lunch bags inside. They found Mr. Waters sitting at her desk with a cup of tea in front of her. She looked up when the kids walked in. The school has gone wacky, she said. First, Mrs. Shosky's skeleton disappears. Then I start losing things. I've been searching for my closet key for 2 days. Whatever will be next? You're missing a key? Josh asked. I didn't go in my pocket. Yes, I haven't been able to put my purse and coat in the closet, Mr. Waters said. Josh found the skeleton jamming wrapped around the key. He removed the paper and put the key on Mr. Waters' desk. Is this it? No, this isn't the one I lost. Could it be a copy of your key? Dink asked. I suppose, Mr. Waters looked and think. What could anyone take my key and make a copy? Where did you find it, Josh? In my locker, he said. Along with this, he showed Mr. Waters the picture of the skeleton. A key and a skeleton, she said. What does it mean? We think the key leads to the skeleton, Rufus said, so it might be in your closet. My closet? Who would do such a thing? Mr. Waters stood up and marched over to her coat closet. Dink, Josh, and Rufus folded. Mr. Waters inserted the key in the lock and turned it. The door slowly swung open, hanging from Mr. Waters' coat hook and the skull skeleton. Mr. Bones had a big grin on his face. "It's not Mr. Bones," Rufus screamed. Mr. Dillon came flying out of his office. "What's the matter?" Before Mr. Waters could answer, Miss Shosky burst into the little room. "Who screamed? Anyone hurt?" Mrs. Shosky cried, looking first at the three kids. "Are you kids all right?" "Yes, and here's your friend, Miss Shosky." Mr. Waters pulled the closet door all the way open. "Well, heavens sake!" Mrs. Shosky exclaimed. "And what's this?" She removed a folded paper that had been tapped onto the skeleton's hand. She read it out loud. "April Fools!" They burst out laughing. Someone had been playing a trick on the whole school, Mr. Waters said. "Well, Mr. Bones is going back where he belongs," Miss Shosky said. She lifted the skull skeleton off the hook. "Say bye-bye," she said, waving the skeleton's hand. Then she carried it into her office. Miss Waters went to her desk. She looked at her calendar. "Today is April Fool's Day," she said. "It totally slipped my mind." She placed it on the hook, then bent down and picked something up off the closet floor. When she turned around, she was holding a pair of sneakers. She turned them over so everyone could see the bottoms. "Zigzag tread," Josh said. "Are those the sneakers that everyone been talking about?" Mr. Dillon said. "How did they get into your coat closet, Mr. Waters?" Mr. Waters stared at the boss for a moment, then shook her head. "I have no idea, Mr. Dillon." "Excuse me, I think I know," he said. Mr. Dillon looked at Dink. He always glinted off eyeglasses. "You do. Tell us." Dink blushed. "Well, someone decided to play on April Fool's Day, a joke on the whole school. So we took Mr. Shosky's skeleton and hid it in Mr. Waters' closet." Dink looked at Mr. Waters. "He took your key so you wouldn't be able to open the door. But why would the person hide the sneakers?" Mr. Dillon said. "Because he left a footprint," Josh said, "and planned to make more footprints later. And he borrowed Mr. Waters' powder to do it with," Rufus said, grinning at Dink and Josh. "He took the key somewhere and had 6 copies made," Dink went on. "He drew 6 skeletons and left them and the keys in 6 different lockers, one from each classroom." Mr. Warren shook his head. "Amazing! Why would he do such a thing?" "I think he wanted all the kids to search for the skeleton," they said. "I'm confused," Mr. Dillon said. He sat in Mr. Waters' chair. "How could some stranger come into the school and do all this without being seen?" then glanced at Josh and Rufus. They both nodded. We think it was someone who works here, sir, he said. One of the teachers? Mr. Dillon said. But who? And why? Then Josh and Rufus looked at Mr. Dillon. They kept staring until the principal blushed. Oh, goodness, Mr. Waters cried. It was you, wasn't it? Cut, Mr. Dillon said, grinning. But you wanted to get caught, Rufus said. That's why you left the footprints and the keys and notes. Mr. Dillon nodded. Yes, I wanted to get caught. You see, I love April Fool's Day. When I was your age, I couldn't wait for this day. I played pranks all the time. I did do, Mr. Waters said. My sister was always finding frogs in the sweater drawer. No one plays tricks on pranks anymore, Dylan went on. Each year, April 1st just slips by and noticed. So I decided that this year would be different. This year, everyone would remember April Fool's Day. Mr. Dillon kicked off his loafers and pulled on the zigzag sneakers. I miss these, he said. I wear them to school every morning, then change it to my loafers. Then laughed. We went around the missionary teacher's feet, and all the time those sneakers were in the closet. Principal grinned. I have to admit, I had a lot of fun on Monday. I went in to wash my hands at Miss Shusky's sink. It was early. No one was here. Then I saw Skeleton with her scarf draped around the shoulders. And that's when I got an idea. His eyes twinkled. I grabbed the skeleton, came back to our connecting door, and hid it in Mr. Waters' closet. She leaves the key in the lock, so I just knocked the door and kept the key. Then you changed your shoes, right? Josh asked. Mr. Dillon nodded. I didn't realize that I'd left a footprint. But when you told me that later, I decided to leave more footprints. And that's when I borrowed Mr. Waters' powder. And I expect it back, please, she said. Everyone laughed again. Mr. Dillon smiled. Since you three kids were the first to find Mr. Bones, you get to make the announcement over the intercom. What announcement? Things asked. What about the trip, of course? I've hired buses to take the entire school to the aquarium. Mr. Dillon said. Everyone's going? Rufus said. Everyone searched for Mr. Bones. So everyone gets the prize, said Mr. Dillon. Suddenly, Mr. Bones' head popped through the door. Even me? The skeleton asked. The end. Thank you for listening, and if you like my videos, please subscribe.